Hello and welcome to Hell Yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit. I am your host, Killer Rhubarb. This is a really cool action platformer game that was released in 2012 by Aikido Studios and published by Shiga. Let's get right into it. So yeah, the basic story is that we're caught having sex with ducks, ducks, and we got spotted by a paparazzi, and 100 monsters saw the pictures on the internet, so we're going to kill them all. This stage is a brief look at the platforming, and just teaching us the controls basically, and we learn the main problem of the game. The controls are super floaty, so I got hit a lot there. So, whenever you see me fail a jump, don't assume that it's because I suck at the game. It's because the controls are just bad. Some people say that it's better on the Xbox 360 controller, some people say it's worse. I honestly don't know, I'm playing it with the computer controls. Here we learn how to unzoom, a skill that I only use this once and never again. It comes in somewhat useful sometimes, for finding secret areas, but I feel like it's more hassle than it's worth. So, as I said before, a lot of people complain about the controls in this game. Other people complain about the humour, such as these butts on the ground that constantly fart as you jump on them. And like, for example, Poi Poi there, our first monster of the 100 that we've got to kill, comments on how the prince is naked. And, for example, that mine there, it was too hard to try and jump over it, so I just ran straight into it. It took a little bit of damage to chase some time. Speedrun stress. Anyway, from Nesta here we get our first weapon, and our main weapon. It's going to be on our body at all time. It's the jetpack, or the spinning saw of death. This game was actually originally going to be a digging game, which is sort of like a Dig Dug, with more vertical challenges, but because no publisher wanted to pick up on that, it became this. So anyway, here we are going to murder Poi Poi. After every time you kill a monster, you get this awesome, you get a different mini game each time, like that one. They're a little bit of mindless fun. I think it's quite unique of an action platformer to do this. And once you kill a monster, it is added to your monster index, and you can have a look at them. I'll be posting the monster index in thread, so you can feel free to read all the humorous information about the monsters at your heart's content. Anyway, down here we've got our second monster. You may have seen him for a little bit. His name is Splattersaw. Most of these mini games involve mashing the space button or pressing the space button at certain times, like the next one we're going to see, or answering a question, which is going to be one of those coming up in this episode. Basically just simple puzzle, simple like iPhone-ish games, not too hard. Something I haven't mentioned yet is that I think that the game is really, really beautiful. It's got a lot of cartoony style blood, guts, stuff like that. Also, the backgrounds and the foregrounds are both beautiful. There's no real mixing between the background and the foreground. The neonish colours are really nice. So, something I should talk about is that this game actually did very well. A lot of people criticized the controls and the humor of the game. Other people talk about how the game it feels unfinished or unpolished, and that the gameplay is uninspired and uninteresting, and it's just a normal action platformer. I disagree with that statement. I agree with the fact that it's got really bad controls, and that some of the humour is not for everyone's liking. For example, Fontaine, who's always flowing for you, and hot nurses come out of her when you heal up. But I think the gameplay is really unique. It's not something I've ever seen done in a action platformer before. It's really fun as well. It doesn't. It's not super complex, but games don't need to be super complex to be fun. That minigame is just pressing space at the right amount of time, and the green bar. These minigames generally get harder as you go along. There's some that you'll have to retry quite a few times. Anyway, we're going to buy the missiles and a bunch of skins in this shop. Right now we've got the Dead Baron hat on and axes as our skin. If you saw a skin in there, the options, and you'd like to see me try it on, I'll definitely give it a go. So with the missile launchers, we can now hit these long range enemies and do awesome finishing moves such as this one of my favourites. There is not 100 finishing moves in the game, so some of them are going to repeat, and many of them are going to be similar. Also, I'm just going to die because I don't like my fuck amounts of blood. But then I realised that you respawn with the same amount of blood anyway. So I'm going to try and do this jump. It's actually a really hard jump, especially with the controls, and as you can see I only just made it both ways. And I've got to stop up here because of the floating controls. That jump actually killed me several times. I don't like admitting it, but there's probably 5 deaths in between when I died first and when I came out of the coffin again. Also, some of those deaths were attributed to these stones, these red stones on me. They don't really explain it, but they do drop onto you and kill you if you mine directly beneath them. So don't do that. Now we can finally kill that brain that could have electrocuted us if we tried last time. The average lifetime of Dead Rabbit is WTF, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. In case it comes up on a quiz night or whatever. Yeah, anyway, as I said before, this game didn't do very well. Some of the scores that it got were between 2 and 10. So that's quite a big difference. A lot of people that thought that the game was good did agree with what I'm saying right now, is that it's just really good mindless fun. And I've gone through why there's criticism of this game. Aikido themselves actually, well, the main publisher of this game, not the main publisher, but the main director of this game. What am I trying to say? The main designer of this game, there we go, beautiful, did release a post-mortem of this game, and why he thought it failed, as we get into the first boss here. Fugogo is our first boss. He's actually pretty easy, even in terms of first boss. His first stage I actually think is the hardest. The second stage is him both gimmicks, which I'll get to when we get to them, which make them easier. But for Go-Go, your boss voice is very impressive. I like it a lot. Yeah, so basically in this stage, Go-Go just walks around the stage and attempts to walk into you, which makes dodging him very hard, as you can see there. Especially because of the floaty controls. He also summons those firewalls, but they're pretty easy to dodge because they show you where they're going to land. Anyway, that's the first stage done. Oh, the music in this game is also really rocking, as you can probably tell now. You can actually download the soundtrack for free, and I'll be linking that in the thread as well. Make sure to give it a listen if you like what you hear so far. Yeah, in the second stage here, all we have to do is dodge those really slow moving balls, and there's quite a few places where you can dodge them, so it's not hard at all. Anyway, in this stage here, we have to kind of melt his health with these cannons as he walks towards us and fires out slow moving fireballs. We can also damage him with our rockets, but it's not as fast as doing it with a mini gun. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to go towards me, or towards the other rocket. Towards the other machine gun, sorry, so if we could just kind of have to stick him on this side until finally we can melt his health down and get to the end. There's actually more of this game that we haven't even seen yet, and I'll be getting into that in the next episode where it's introduced. Right now we're getting introduced to our main enemies. Here's the exit, but I'm going to go down here and collect the rest of the monies, because we need to buy all those awesome skins then. That's what I spend the majority of my money on. They're $50, but there is a lot of them, so... And right now I'm like, thinks it's this way, right? No. Anyway, that's episode 1. We'll be getting into more meat in the game in top now. Speak Killer Rhubarb. Thank you very much for watching.